Greetings, viewers. My name is Biggcriddi The Hedgehog, and today we will be reviewing the 1954 kaiju movie, Gojira. Alright, people, it's time to do another Godzilla movie. So basically, I've decided to just do every single Godzilla movie that I can get my hands on and review it, starting from the Showa era all the way to the Millennium series. But without further ado, let's begin this review with the history bit. Gojira, or Godzilla, was a 1954 kaiju movie directed by Ishiro Honda. A Japanese film producer by the name of Tomoyuki Tanaka wanted to produce a monster movie to symbolize the nuclear bomb tests in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, so he hired Eiji Tsuburaya to handle the special effects for the movie, as well as Akira Ifukube with the score. Along with Ishiro Honda directing the film, they would be known as the forefathers of Godzilla throughout the years. And as such, Godzilla was eventually born, along with all these several other Godzilla movies afterwards. But anyways, let's take a look at Gojira, or Godzilla, and just see just how good this movie is when 4 people can make a good movie. Our movie begins out at sea where a boat called the Ekomaru was suddenly destroyed by a blinding flash of light. Then we are introduced to 2 of our main characters, Emiko and Ogata, played by Momoko Ochi and Akira Takarada. Another ship was sent to investigate the disappearance of the Ekomaru, but then it too ends up disappearing. Pretty soon, a fishing boat ends up going missing and the people of Odo Island are unable to catch fish. One of the elders of Odo Island suspects that the ancient creature known as Godzilla has returned and is taking all the fish. Later that night, a ceremony happens on Odo Island with a group of people dressed in tengu masks to appease the giant beast. Later on, we see a typhoon appear and Godzilla's roars happening in the background as he lays waste to Odo Island Village. A press conference is held where Dr. Yamane, played by Takashi Shimura, decides to head back to Odo Island to conduct an investigation. Once they make it to Odo Island, the investigation goes smoothly until some villagers mention that Godzilla is somewhere at the top of the hill. Once they make it to the top of the hill and he peeks his head up, everybody flees in fear and fright. Oh, come on, Emiko, how could you trip? It's not exactly like you're running in high heels or something, come on now. Godzilla makes it back to the sea before we turn to another press conference where Dr. Yamane explains that Godzilla must be from prehistoric age and that he must be amphibian given how he's able to live on land and sea, and given by the photograph that he's over 300 or 400 feet tall. Dr. Serizawa, played by Akihiko Harada, tells Emiko to come over to his place to show her something secretive that he tells her not to discuss to the world. Godzilla eventually is spotted in Tokyo Bay and the military tries to stop him but are unable to. Then Godzilla starts rampaging near a train and then leaves. The military eventually prepares for Godzilla's second coming and as an added bonus, building 300,000 volts of electricity sprung around the city as a barrier. Godzilla eventually shows up again and battles the military. Let's see what happens. Well, I guess that means Japan really is fucked, huh? Godzilla then proceeds to lay waste to Tokyo, and you gotta give your props to AG Tsuburaya for handling the special effects. Although with some shots, Godzilla's fiery breath does look kinda weird at times, but it gets its point across. And there are other times where Godzilla's head looks a little, it looks a little Muppet-ish. During Godzilla's rampage, there's an intense and emotional scene where we see a mother holding her three children, telling them that they're going to meet their father soon. This is a pretty intense scene telling us that this could really be the end of Tokyo. Godzilla eventually does leave before being attacked by the Air Force, before we then cut to the devastation and destruction of Tokyo while also going to the infirmary seeing all the people that were injured during Godzilla's rampage. Emiko then tells Ogata that the only way to defeat Godzilla is with Dr. Serizawa's help. Then we get a flashback to when he invited her over in the first place, where we see that he had created a powerful weapon that could transform anything in living water into skeletons. Emiko and Ogata go to see Dr. Serizawa to use his oxygen destroyer against Godzilla. Dr. Serizawa quickly declines, and after a quick and brutal off-screen fight between them, they still keep trying to convince him, and then after the choir of children sing, he then agrees to help kill Godzilla with his oxygen destroyer. The next day, a ship goes out to locate Godzilla as Dr. Serizawa and Ogata then head down to use the oxygen destroyer against Godzilla. Eventually they spot him, but eventually Godzilla then starts chasing them as they reach a ravine, and then Dr. Serizawa sends Ogata back up so that he can use the oxygen destroyer alone. Dr. Serizawa successfully plants the oxygen destroyer, then Godzilla comes up out of the water giving us one final roar, then he dies. Ugh, I swear, I hate when they use a puppet for a monster. It just does not look well. The movie ends on a sour note for everybody because Dr. Serizawa, in fear, gave up his life so that his secret could never be shown to the world. But Godzilla was defeated and the day was saved. Wow, this movie was really intense. I cannot believe it got to this level. But at the same time, Godzilla was an allegory for nuclear weapons in Japan, and he was a symbolism for the nuclear bomb tests in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. But enough of all that noise because it's time for the results. I love this movie for a lot of ways. One, because of the emotional impact that it brings whenever you watch it, and then with the black and white tone to the movie, it also gives that old monster movie vibe. Ishiro Honda and Eiji Tsuburaya was really in their bag when they made this movie. With the special effects and the great directing, who could go wrong, along with Akira Fukube's score. But this concludes my review of the movie. My name is Biggcriddi The Hedgehog, and we'll see you next time.